You right then guys, so welcome back to a brand new video. Now today what we are doing, I've been planning this for quite a while now. Ever since I fitted my new alloy wheels, they're a lot wider than what I previously had. Obviously on the rears they were quite low and rubbing was a little bit of an issue. So I basically had to raise the coilovers all the way up to the top. It's not even that high really, it still looks decent. But obviously with added weight in the back, going over a few bumps, it would occasionally catch and rub on like the arch for example. So I took out the rear seats and I had in mind that removing the rear seats and maybe taking out the rear seat belts and things like that would free up a little bit of weight. Then it kind of started annoying me how where the rear seats are, it's actually a bit of a lower floor than the actual boot itself. Don't get me wrong, I love all the extra room that I've got now because sometimes go fishing, put all my carp fishing stuff in the boot, so much easier just having a massive like open area where you can just chuck everything in and you still got plenty of room. But yeah, as I was saying, it's annoying at how where the rear seats sit on top of, it's a lot lower than the actual boot floor itself. So I went to B&Q yesterday evening, spent 55 quid I think it was, got a load of wood. I've probably bought a bit too much wood if I'm honest with you. Laying right here is a massive, you probably won't even be able to see it, I can't even move it. There we go. We've got 4 massive long bits of wood. So yeah, we bought the 4-pack of like long rough sawn timber, I think it was called, something like that. It's like 2.4 meters long. So yeah, this the long pieces of timber that I've got here, they need cutting down. They're going to be for the base, the kind of frame that we're going to make. Also bought some like corner braces as well. Some screws, some hinges, I think that's it for all the kind of hardware and fitting bits. But yeah, I got that. And then obviously we've got some MDF boards which are going to be laid out across the top of this, which is going to actually kind of make the floor. I will just say this quickly, I'm not the best with this kind of stuff, like building things, cutting or woodwork, that kind of custom kind of building kind of thing, but I'm going to give it a go. No harm in giving it a go. Hope it will turn out alright. But yeah, I think first of all we'll measure up what lengths of wood we need to form the kind of outer pieces of the base. Get them cut, lay them in the car, in the boot, and then see about cutting out the lengths for the pieces in the middle, if that kind of makes sense. Then we'll figure out like sizes and shapes that we need to cut out for the MDF board. So I think we'll just give it a go, see what happens. Wish me luck, boys. This is all the stuff that I bought yesterday. Got some corner braces, got some hinges because basically I weren't sure what size I needed, and I want to kind of incorporate kind of a lifting door to get into the spare wheel well. So if I ever need to get in there, say if I've got a puncture or whatever, literally just be able to lift up a little kind of door, get in there like that. So I bought a few hinges here. Rough sawn timber it's called. This is going to be forming the actual brace itself, like frame. Probably have it standing on its side, so it's a little bit higher off the boot floor. But yeah, we've got 4 lots of them. Should be plenty. So to save a little bit of money, I bought a 3mm hard board. It's only thin, but this is going to go basically kind of that way, just behind the seats, because if you're in the front of the car and you look behind you, you're going to see like up inside, all underneath the frame and everything like that. So this will kind of be laid kind of that way round, if that makes sense. Obviously down towards the ground. It doesn't need to be strong stuff because it's just literally hiding the big gap. And then for the actual flooring itself, it's got 9mm MDF. So we've got 3 lots of these, should be enough. So you can kind of see how it will sit on there. I've put that board at the back there, lengthways, and that's kind of how it's going to sit. Obviously, these 2 are the same size as that. They're going to be going lengthways, they're going to be too long, so they need cutting down. They also need to follow the kind of shape of the wheel arch and all the little bits of plastic down in there as well. So I think we'll focus on getting the frame started first and go from there really. Right guys, so I'm now in the garden, just making a start. First of all, I'm just cutting the 2 longer lengths going from the back of the boot up towards the kind of the back of the driver's seats. I measured it that I need it to be about 125 centimeters. Just getting 2 lengths of 125 centimeter wood, just for each side, left and right hand side of the kind of frame. So here are the 2 lengths of the 1.25 m, longer bits going from the back to the front. And then I'm just going to put these in the boot quickly, roughly, or figure out where I want it, like right over to the left hand side, and one of them all the way over to the right hand side. Measure up the gap in between, and then we need to cut some wood to go like kind of across. So I'll just take the camera around to the car and show you what I mean. Right, so as you can see, I've just laid out the 2 lengths going up the car. I'm now just measuring in between, roughly measuring about 85 centimeters. So I'm probably going to cut one for here, one for roughly about the middle, and one for further up. So we'll do 3 cuts of 85 centimeters, and then figure out about joining them up to kind of form the base. Right then guys, so as you can see, 3 lots of wood for the like kind of cross support. So I think what I'll do now is, these are the longer parts and these are the kind of cross sections. So I think what I'll do is actually join them up now, just to get a rough base. Take the whole thing, which is joined together, back to the car and see where to go from there. Right then guys, so yeah, as I was saying, this is where we're up to now. I didn't really film too much of it, but I cut the 2 longer pieces which go from front to back. Then I cut 3 of these slightly shorter ones. I've still got to add the middle one for support. I've just placed it in the car just to see where the wheel well was, because basically I want to kind of use like a hatch door kind of thing, just to get in there if I ever need to. So I've just marked up, here is the, oh, can't really see, but I've just marked up here, that's where the top of the wheel well is, this little part here, and then it comes all the way across to here, and then there is another little marking where the end of the wheel well is. So if you could see, it's kind of just this small bottom corner of the, which is the wheel well. So I think what we'll do now is add that 3rd supporting bar, maybe just at the top of the wheel well where I've made the line there. Join it up for a bit more support. Maybe add a support bar just for a bit more added support and rigidity. Roxy,
I think she approves.
are you trying to help me?
Hello.
Oh, look at you. Aren't you so lovely? So yeah, we'll get that all done, and then we might add a few more kind of supporting bars up here, and I'll show you along the way, obviously. Right then guys, so a quick little update again. This part is now screwed in, all the corner braces are in, and you can see up there as well. So this bottom section here is for the spare wheel well kind of thing, and I'm hoping to obviously kind of make a kind of like a hinge door for it. As you can see, we've got that bar in there now, and I think we'll do like another 3 up here for support, and then also we need to figure out legs coming from here down into the light footwell behind the front seats. I have just got to pop to B&Q again because I've just run out of the, well, haven't run out, but I'm not going to have enough of these corner braces. I've only got about 8 of these left, I think, and obviously if I'm adding like the 3 kind of bars going up there, I'm going to need a few more than 8, and I think we'll also need them for the legs from like here, these corners here. This is like in the front, in the rear footwell, sorry. The legs will just be going straight down into the footwell just to keep it kind of straight. So I need to figure out a length for the legs for it to be sitting perfectly straight. That's how far I've got at the moment. Don't think it's coming along too bad. It's decently strong, nice and rigid as well, and I think that's mainly for these big screws going through, and also these kind of corner braces. The mixture of both of them kind of does add to the strength. But yeah, just going to quickly pop the B&Q, get some more of these corner braces. I think we're alright for screws, to be fair, we've still got loads of them. So yeah. Right then guys, so I'm just using my phone as a torch right now because it's pitch black outside. It gets dark so early now, which is annoying. But we're making decent progress with the false floor. I think I've now fully made kind of the frame for it. I've just cut the legs for it, which are going to be standing into the footwell to make it kind of level. I've just got a spirit level out, gone to the car, measured how long the legs need to be, and then I'm just about to screw them onto the frame. And then I need to sort out kind of this kind of door, or this hatch, whatever you want to call it, to lift up, kind of this hatch to lift up for the wheel well, the spare wheel. It's just going to be so much easier than like trying to lift up the whole floor or anything like that. So I've got to figure out a way to try and make that, I suppose, but it's getting kind of late now. I've been working on it kind of most of the day now. I'm happy with how far I've got actually. I didn't expect I'd probably nearly finish the frame today. And then when the MDF is actually screwed down onto the frame itself, I then want to go over it with some kind of like soft padding, similar to kind of like a gym flooring that you find. Then I can also like put some fabric over it, so like some black suede material or something like I've done on my door cards. Just retrim it just to make it look quite nice and neat. But yeah, I'm just about to screw the legs on and then go from there really. Right then guys, so as you can see, it's now pretty much complete. This is the gap of the spare wheel, which I'm still kind of trying to work out how to do a kind of a hinge door kind of thing. And then what I've done, I've added the legs, which will be going down into the footwell, and then just for a bit of strength I've just added another bit of wood here, and then they've got loads of screws all going through it. They are rock solid, these legs, they aren't moving. So I think we're all good now, really strong and rigid, they ain't moving at all. I think we might have a look and start trying to figure out how we can make this kind of hinge door kind of thing. Also, while I've been doing this in the kitchen, because it's now dark outside and pissing it down, the missus has been baking, and look at these cookies, mate, and these cupcakes. Currently doing some icing things.
Yeah, making like 2 colours.
She knows what she's doing. Just got to figure out about this hinge door, and we'll go from there. Right, and so this is the area of the spare wheel. I'm just trying to figure out how to use the hinges, what the best way of kind of fitting them is. I'm thinking to actually attach the hinges kind of on the wrong way, just so when it's actually opening it doesn't catch. And obviously this is a lot flatter on the top, so the MDF isn't going to be raised or anything, and it's going to be flat like the rest of the whole frame. So if it was that way up, the barrel of the hinge would be kind of in the way, the MDF wouldn't sit flat. So I'm thinking to actually attach it backwards, and then it's actually a lot more flatter. If you can see that, it's much flatter. As you can see, if it's attached like that, it will just come up like that, which is exactly what I want. It will only open to about there-ish, but that's still completely fine. So I'm now just gonna go in, screw it in. I'll be screwing the MDF just into this part. Hello cat. And then it'll be resting on these other 3 points that I've screwed these little blocks onto. As you can see, that is the top of the hinge door. You can see. Right then guys, so I'm so happy with how it's actually turned out. I've spent like pretty much all day on it, probably a good 8 hours I'd say. Just obviously cutting, screwing, fitting all the little corner braces and that kind of thing. I'll just give you a quick look at it. So it's not the easiest to see here, because we're just undercover, but basically the kind of hatch area is all complete. As you can see, the hinges, that will open like that, which is pretty sick. And then I've just added a little bit more reinforcements to like the legs here. I've added another little plank of wood, and then obviously added screws just down the side of it there, just for a little bit of reinforcements. And I've also added the a little corner brace in both of them as well, just so it's a little bit stronger at the top end if any like kind of weight is put on like the top half of it. But yeah, it does feel really nice and strong, rigid, and all the things that you'd want really from a false floor. So I'm going to leave it at this today. I'm just going to go chuck it in the car now, and then I think tomorrow we'll make a start on fitting the MDF to the top of it. Right then guys, so it's actually the following day. It's now about 2 o'clock. I'm starting it fairly late, but I'm just going to get a few hours done today. Probably work into darkness again like yesterday, but here it is all laid out in the car. You can see how it fits. So the legs obviously going down there into the rear footwell. I'll just brighten it up so you can see that there. Then obviously we've got the 2 main beams here, and then obviously this kind of hinge door kind of system here that kind of lifts up like that. So that's where I got up to yesterday. I think the first bit that we're going to do is try and trim around the centre bit, that raised kind of bit in the middle of the 2 footwells, because I've got a thin bit of wood that I just want to put over the front of that. So I think we're going to get some cardboard, just trim around the kind of raised bit which is just there, and then we're going to put the cardboard over the thin wood and just cut around that, screw that onto the actual frame, and then that's going to be the front of it done. And then we're pretty much going to do exactly the same, just with the thicker bits of MDF which are going on the top to actually make the floor. We're just going to be trimming around the kind of bits of plastic and bits around the side of the car, like down here. So yeah, we're just going to be trimming around bits of plastic like this part here, just so we can get the MDF trimmed nicely to fit flush just all around these corners and down in this corner here, like following it around the wheel arch, and just things like that. So gonna get some cardboard in here, have a little go at just trimming it slightly, just until it fits flush, especially over this little ridge here, if you can see it too well, just so it fits over there. And then we're gonna start by fitting that end piece of wood to block off the front of it. So then guys, this is the cardboard box that I was talking about. I've just laid this just in the front, so basically it doesn't look very straight, that line that I've just done, as you can see. But I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably measure up how high that one is, and then just measure it up to this side here, just so it's a straight line. A little bit difficult to do in the car. And then obviously that's the cutout that I was talking about, of that little raised bit just in the middle of the 2 footwells. So what I'm going to do, I'll cut this out, follow this line around, obviously making sure that that line that I've made across the top is straight and flat, and then we'll cut it out. We'll take it back to the car just to make sure it's correct and it fits decent, and then I think what I'll do, I'll trace this onto the thin piece of wood that I've got just to cover the front. I think it's only like 3mm thick, so it's not thick or strong or anything, but it doesn't need to be. It's just literally there to cover the front. So yeah, we'll get this line sorted out a little bit straighter, and then we'll probably trace it onto the big piece of wood. Right then guys, so after a little while of keep taking this back to the car, this is actually the thin, I think it's only 3mm, I think it's called hardboard or something. But yeah, after I've done a slightly larger cut from that cardboard, slightly larger cut for a template, just because I didn't want to cut it too small on any little part. So after a few trips to the car and back with the false floor sitting in the car, I've just been slightly trimming little areas where the floor is slightly higher, just to try and get it to fit a little bit more flush, because it was little bits like these little bits here. I cut this to a right angle, and these bits here were just catching on the floor and it was pushing the whole thing a little bit higher. So yeah, I've just done a few more little trims around it. It's not the neatest job, but it's going to be wrapped in some black fabric at the end of it anyway, so I'm not too fussed on the cuts not being too neat. But anyway, I've now finished playing about with this and I've taken it to the car, and it's probably about as good fit as I'm going to get it. So yeah, I'll quickly screw this onto the false floor and then show you how it looks. Right then boys, so it might be a little bit difficult to see. We're just under cover at the moment because it's starting to rain again. Just literally put a load of screws in just so I know that it's secure on all of the edges. Unfortunately, there isn't any wood kind of in this middle part, so this bit is a little bit kind of like flexing, but it's not too much of a big deal because there's not going to be any weight on it anyway. So yeah, you can see that is the top of it there. We're now just gonna go put it in the car and see how it fits up. Right then boys, so that is it sitting in the car. Oh, I don't think that looks too bad whatsoever. The fitment against the floor is pretty decent, not really any gaps at all. There is a tiny gap just around the back of there. Not too much of a big deal because it's not that bad. But yeah, I'm fairly happy with that, to be fair. It looks decent. Obviously when it's covered in that fabric material it will look a lot better. Also, if I've got enough material, I might have a look at doing pretty much the same thing on the sides just here. Right then guys, so I'm going to call it a night there. The door kind of hatch thing is on. As you can see, the screws are holding it in there with this underneath, so it's got a little bit more support. Obviously there's still that gap down the side, and at the bottom here I will be putting more MDF tomorrow hopefully, just to cover all of these gaps around the corners and stuff. We just want a nice flat floor. So obviously MDF is going to come right alongside this, kind of flush with it, hopefully, if I can get my measurements right, which I don't think I'm doing too badly at the moment. One thing I have just noticed, trying to lift this hatch up, it does hit just on here, which is a little bit annoying. I have just tried to get the spare wheel out and I can get it out like this, so it's not a problem at all. So that's all good if I drop that down. But hopefully tomorrow I'm going to give it all day, and hopefully we can make some decent progress, and I'm hoping that I might be able to finish it. Might be a bit of a tall ask, but yeah, we'll give it a go anyway. So I will see you in the morning. Right then guys, so it is actually the next morning. I've just chucked on the same old clothes because last night I got quite dusty cutting the MDF. I've just measured up onto the next piece of MDF with the actual carpet from the boot. Right then, so this is the cutout that I've done for the right hand side of the boot. I've just traced around the boot carpet, whatever you want to call it, and this is on the right hand side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out the right hand side of the hatch door, which is around here. That line there is roughly where the hatch door is going to start. So I want to be doing the right hand piece of the hatch door, then do the little piece at the bottom, and then we'll also be doing the little piece on the left hand side, which has got to go around the wheel arch as well, and then in a tiny little area just down here. So once we've got in the right hand piece, the bottom piece underneath the hatch door, and the left hand piece, then we can start moving on kind of just a little bit further up, which should be a little bit easier. And I'm hoping that these parts here do fit kind of flush against the door. So I'm going to cut this out, take it to the car to see how good my measurements are, and then we can, once it's cut out, once I made sure it fits okay, then we can screw that part to the frame itself. So yeah, after a few little bits of trimming, this wood is now in. Just get rid of that. So yeah, it fits in nice and flush down the bottom here, all the way into the corner, and then around the arch. It's not perfectly straight, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be putting some kind of soft flooring, kind of foam stuff over the whole thing. So yeah, that needs to be screwed down. I've now got some cardboard here. Just going to cut out a template to fit down here, and then also for this corner bit here. So I'm going to put the camera on the tripod and just cut out this, and yeah, obviously just cut it to shape and go from there, and then cut some wood from that template. boys, so after a little bit more work, this is where we're up to. Ignore all that cardboard, that's just all off cuttings from making kind of templates. That's for my next template. I need to open that box up and do that. I've just cut, so I think the last time you saw I was doing this part and this corner part and this part here. I've now cut all of them, and then I've just placed them in. They're not screwed in just yet, because I just want to make sure that they all fit okay. I know it's gone a little bit kind of wavy just there, but that doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered with kind of a soft padded flooring anyway. Then yeah, I've cut around this piece of plastic here, not too badly. There's a little gap around it, but it's not too bad. And then it fits up flush with the rear door card there. But yeah, that's roughly how they both fit in at the moment. They're decent fit-in wise. Go around the plastics nice and tight, which I'm happy with. I think now I'm going to just make a little piece coming from here to this side, just so it's level, and then that should leave just the last gap there, which should be wide enough for one piece of the MDF, which I've got one full piece left, and then I've got two smaller bits which have been offcuts. One of them offcuts will fit here, and then the main big piece can fit at the back there. So I think now, cut this template out just for this little area here, we'll go back to the garden, cut that, bring it back, place it in, and then we can start having a look at fitting the main piece at the back. I've just laid this MDF board in just behind the front seats, top end of the fourth floor. So what I've done, I placed it on there, and obviously it's a bit too long going from front to back. So underneath I've got the pencil, I just drew the line there that you can see, hopefully that you can see, just where the front of the fourth floor is. Difficult to explain, but that's going to be the front. And then I've just gone around the frame, and that is the end of the frame there. So then this is the right angle of where the corner of the frame is. This mark here, it was only a rough mark, but that's where this crease starts in the back door card. So I'm thinking I might angle it off and do something like that. So from the right angle of the corner of the frame, going down towards the crease in the back door card. I don't think it will look too bad. I think it will look quite decent, to be honest, and even if when I do fit it, it doesn't look great, I can always add that little bit more wood just to sort it out again. But we're just going to go make that line there, do the same with this side as well. Now that last piece of wood is cut, we're going to take it to the car, just put it into place, just have a look at all the pieces fitting together. Some of them are a little bit wonky, they're not perfectly lined up with each other, but don't really need to have that because I'm going to be putting kind of a soft padding, kind of foam stuff on the top, just to give it a little bit of support. Maybe if I drop anything heavy on it, just to protect the wood from maybe dents or even holes. So yeah, doesn't really matter about it not fitting together perfectly. Obviously you want it fairly close and you want it to be nice and stable and supported, which it is by the frame. So what we'll do, we'll just go and take this, place it in the car, and then we'll have a look at how all the pieces are fitting together, and then we can start screwing it all into the frame. So here we are. Now, as I said, there are a few bits that don't fit together perfectly, but as it's really not that bad because it's going to be covered up anyway. This kind of hinge door still opens. There we go, as I was saying the other night, that it catches on this bit of plastic here, but I can still get the spare wheel out if I need it. So yeah, I've cut really nicely into these kind of recesses down here. Same with down here. These little bits here keep on falling down the little side, but obviously they won't do that when they're screwed in. That's what I was talking about with the kind of slight angle at the top there. I'll just go and open the passenger side door. That will be fitting flush like that. As you can see, if it was lining up here, it would have been coming out right to here, which I don't think is really that nice. I've now cut it off at a nice angle, and in the future I do want to probably do kind of a face there just to cover that little bit part up there. Obviously same that side as well. But yeah guys, I'm super happy with how this has turned out. I really am happy with it. And obviously when this has got like foam over it, the kind of soft padding and the black material, I think it's gonna look fucking sweet. Like, it really is. I think we will go back to the house, grab the drill, some screws, and we will start screwing all of these pieces into place. Right then guys, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to see me. It looks okay, but I've got a bright light in my face because it's now dark again. We are now finished. We've got all the screws in. I'm really happy with how it is. All the fitment isn't like perfect. The wood has got small gaps in between it, like the MDF, but that's not a problem at all because we're just going to be whacking some like thin kind of foam stuff, and we're just going to be sticking that over the top and then the fabric on the foam. So that's how it's going to happen. That'll be another video though, that won't be today. So I'm going to leave the video here. I'll give you a quick look of it, and I'm really happy with it. Like, it's taken me, I think this is the third day, I think. So 3 days. Admittedly yesterday I didn't do too much on it, only probably about 3-4 hours maybe yesterday, but today I've been working on it all day. Thank you all so much for watching. If you've got anything that you may suggest that you could have done differently, there probably is so many ways that I could have done it differently and better anyway. But yeah, definitely comment down below if you think there's a way or anything, any little tips, whatever, because as I said, I'm not the best at doing this kind of stuff. I gave it a go and it turned out alright. So if you haven't already, then subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you in the next video.